With the trade deadline quickly approaching and the Jets on the fast track to the number 1 overall pick, we have decided to trade linebacker Avery Williamson. Jets! Welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, Monday, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I will have our Talking Jets panel. We're going to do a trade deadline special. We have Ali from Loyal NY Jet Fans. He's going to be joining the roundtable this week. And if you want your shot to win one of the Just End the Suffering shirts, I will be raffling off one of those shirts at the end of that live stream. So make sure you tune into that to figure out how to get one of those shirts. But let's move on to the video. The Jets have traded linebacker Avery Williamson to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a trade a lot of us expected with the Steelers losing Devin Bush for the season and Avery Williamson going into the final year of his contract. We had 8 games left on his deal. The Jets are getting Pittsburgh's 5th-round pick in 2022 in exchange for Avery Williamson and the Jets' 7th-round pick in 2022. So not a draft asset that we could be using this year or this upcoming offseason, but it does free up about $1.5 to $2 million in salary cap space that does hit us immediately. This trade just made a lot of sense for the New York Jets, a lot of sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a lot of sense for Avery Williamson across the board. And it's something we talked about for the last few weeks, and I think overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the compensation overall. Yes, I like Avery Williamson a lot. It sucks that we're losing him, but he only had 8 games left on his contract, and the Jets were not going to re-sign him for next year with C.J. Mosley making the amount of money he's making right now. Not to mention the Jets are set to bring back Peanut, a 1-star, to play linebacker, so it's sort of all times up with all that. On the Steelers side of things, they plug in a veteran inside linebacker who can immediately help them with their playoff push and Super Bowl push this year. They're the best team in the league right now. And I think Big Ben is probably done after this season. So why not push all your chips into the center of the table and make something happen for this year? Now, the Steelers are in a bunch of cap hell after this season. So with Avery Williamson coming off the books, it doesn't affect their cap space. And if he plays well, they could flip that into a compensation pick in 2022. So because they don't have a lot of cap space and they're not going to be signing free agents, they have the opportunity to add as high as a 3rd-round pick for Avery Williamson in 2022. Now, he's going to have to play out of his mind, and someone's going to have to sign him to a pretty decent contract to get that kind of compensation. But the Jets were never going to be able to get that type of return if he stayed on the Jets roster. 1, he wasn't going to be playing as well as he's going to with the Steelers. And 2, we have a ton of money in free agency, or a ton of money in cap space that we're going to be spending on free agency, which would have wiped out the compensation pick formula that the Jets could have potentially gotten for him. So overall, Jets don't lose anything in this. They lose, a veteran player that we like on the team, of course, but for 8 games, it probably makes more sense to take the $2 million in cap space and add a late-round pick just to kind of free up a little bit more cap space and just get a little more ammo for the war chest. In terms of Avery Williamson, he gets to play for a Super Bowl this year, so it really makes me feel good, kind of like the McClendon trade, kind of like the, Jamal Adams trade, playing for a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks. But I do like that Avery's getting a shot to sort of play out I don't want to say the tail end of his career, but he's 28 years old, going to be 29. I think, allowing players to go to areas like this, instead of having them stuck on an 0-8 Jets team, I think is a nice nod for the players and also just a good nod for the free agent. Now, Avery Williamson, like I said, he's going to be a free agent at the end of this season. If he's staying on the Jets, his free agency value is going to be pretty low. If he goes to the Steelers and he plays well, now all of a sudden he might be able to earn himself a higher contract because he's playing on a better team. He's got better players around him. More eyes are going to be on him. I think it just helps out all the way around. And for those of you that are looking at the Jets draft stock for the 2022 draft, so not this year, next year, what are we looking at? We got 2 firsts, a 2nd, a 3rd, 2 5ths, and 3 6ths. Now, you might be saying, hey, that's a lot of late round picks. What are you going to get with a 5th and 6th round pick? Well, guess what? The Jets have a ton of cap space this offseason, and a lot of teams don't. So you might be saying, hey, the Jets could pay anyone and get these players on these sort of, contracts that other teams can't give them. Yes, but how many times have we seen players turn the Jets down in free agency? Guys like Kirk Cousins, Anthony Barr, Dante Hightower. This happens year in and year out where the Jets don't get to sign a player they want because we are just not a desirable destination. Now, what I expect to happen with these late round picks, and because the salary cap is dropping down from $210 million down to $176 million, there are going to be a lot of players on playoff caliber teams that are good players on bad contracts. So teams are going to have to try and get under that salary cap by cutting all of these players. Now, the Jets are going to have a tough time competing for these free agent players unless they decide they want to trade a late round pick for a player on one of these teams. So the player gets removed from the team and their team's salary cap, but the Jets take on that contract. So you're taking on bad contracts from good players to bring in talent to this Jets team because we wouldn't have attracted it in free agency. So I really like the way this is sort of shaping up for the New York Jets. I think we are probably going this route. Guys, let me know what you think of the Avery Williamson trade down below in the comments. And as always, go Jets.